All right, I'll take that as my cue. So call to order. Consent agenda. All matters listed below are to be considered routine by the commission and will be enacted in one motion. There will not be a separate discussion on the items if discussed. If discussion is desired, that item can be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately as new business items. So there's 3 minutes, March 23rd, 2020 minutes, May 18th, 2020 minutes, and June 22nd, 2020 minutes. If I don't hear anybody wanting to pull it, we'll vote unanimously. One vote. So all those for, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Hearing none, motion passes.
Yes.
All right. New business. Project number 202000489, a final plat for Elm Creek North Phase 3, located on a parcel of land owned by the Travis County Appraisal District, parcel 922752, located generally between US Highway 290 and Red Elm Parkway, and adjacent to the Phase 1 and Phase 2 final plats for a total of 115 lots on 23.194 acres of land. Item A, staff presentation. And just real quick, for those that aren't speaking right now, can you turn your microphones off? Just mute them because there's background noise that bleeds through. If you wouldn't mind. All right, Mr. Harrell, please.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is as you may be aware, the preliminary plat was approved for this, and the Phase 1 for final plat was approved on June 24th, 2019. This map is reflective of the entire preliminary plat. Phase 1 approved June 24, 2019 is in blue. And also in June 22nd of this year, Phase 2 was approved. That's the area in green. The proposed Phase 3 is actually as shown here. And also a future Phase 4 is the area that's colored in white that should be coming along at some future date. This plat does match the approved preliminary plat and meets the applicable city codes and the approved development agreement for the site. The subdivision construction plans are currently under review by the city. And since this is in the EJ, this platting approval and the subdivision construction plans will be reviewed by Travis County as well. The staff analysis, we believe there's no other issues with approving the request, and therefore we would ask the commission to approve the plat. And with that stated, that concludes my comments, Mr. Chair. The engineer is here as well for the city, and the applicants, I believe, are here as well if they wanted to say anything. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. So item B is applicant presentation. Does the applicant have a presentation?
Hey, this is Tim Holland. I'm with BGE. We're the engineer and surveyor on this project. We are representing Lennar Homes tonight. They are both the developer and home builder on this project. I do not have a presentation. I think this one is pretty straightforward, but I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody may have.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, with that, item C is open public hearing. So we'll open the public hearing. I got 6:37. Dave, did anybody sign up?
Nobody has signed up for this item. So there's no public comments for the public hearing portion of it, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. So with nobody being seen or heard, we'll close the public hearing. That's item D. Next item, item E, discussion. So a discussion amongst the Pnz Commission. Anybody have anything? Okay, so no discussion. With that, we'll go to item F, and I'll entertain a motion. Someone from the P&Z's got to give me a motion.
I did, but I had my mic turned off.
Okay.
I move we approve final plat for Elm Creek North Phase 3 as presented.
Okay, so I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Tatum seconds.
Second.
With that, we'll go with voice votes. And so,
Mr. Chair, if you'd like as well, I have the option of doing a roll call vote, but it's your call.
yes, yeah, I think that'll be much easier. Will you do a roll call vote,
Yes,
Mr.
I'll go ahead and call those that are present.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lanford? David Lanford? David Lanford, are you there?
See his mic on.
His mic is on. Let me just go back. I'll go on through and come back to him. Mr. Lundgren?
Lundgren, yes.
Mr. Preet?
Yes.
Mr. Tatum?
Yes.
Mr. Lanford? Mr. Lanford? Mr. Lanford again? I know he's there, but I don't think he's having difficulties. Mr. Lanford? Hello?
I see him.
Mr. Chair, what I would suggest that you do for the time being, I think Mr. Lanford's having some difficulties, is to table this, to go ahead and table this item until we can come back and put it at the end of the night, and we can just do a vote on it then until we can get his issues resolved.
Okay, very good.
If that's the motion the commission so desires.
All right, so I need a motion to table it until Mr. Lanford can get his technical difficulties worked out. I need a motion.
I move to table this item.
All right,
I
second.
second that motion.
All right, there you go. So we'll table that until he gets his stuff worked out for him.
Okay. Mr. Chair as well, is it possible that I can ask for a 5-minute recess in
Sure.
regards to this? I want to go ahead and see if I can get a hold of Mr. Lanford and see what's going on and potentially get a hold of some other board members as well. With that said, can I get a recess?
I think that's fine. We're good with that.
Michael, go ahead and stop recording until we come back in session, okay?
6:45. Meeting's reopened. Are we recording, I assume? All right. So I had a motion from Mr. Langford for the final plat Elm Creek North Phase 3, a second by Mr. Tatum. And then we were going around doing voice votes. And so we got through Langford, yes, Tatum, yes, Preet, yes. And so Dorothy, we would like your vote.
I don't think Lanford got a vote, did he?
He's not able to connect.
Oh,
No, that's why we tabled it.
Lundgren, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna move.
My mistake.
Dorothy, you there?
MacArthur, yes.
All right, so there you go. You got a quorum.
Okay.
We can consider that item 1 passed.
We consider that item passed.
Yes, sir. All right,
Do we need to untable it first?
I'm sorry?
Hey, Antonio,
yes,
this is David Lanford. I'm having computer problems. I'll just do by phone.
fantastic. Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay.
So
Go ahead, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry.
we'll give Mr. Langford his chance to do his vote. I assume he's ready to vote.
Yes, that would be a yes from Lanford.
Okay. All right, so item 1 passes. We're past all that. We're going on to item 2. All right, item 2, project number 202000557, a final plat for Peppergrass Phase 1A located on a parcel of land known by the Travis County Appraisal District as parcel 557529, located at the northeast corner of County Line Road and Raymond Johnson Road for a total of 44 lots on 8.23 acres of land. Okay, staff presentation.
Okay, Mr. Chair, just a moment. Okay, Mr. Chair, I'm back.
Yes, sir.
Just a moment, please.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is David Harrell again. I wanted to let you know that Mr. Crepon is here in my office. Can you say something, Mr. Crepon?
I'm here.
He's here. Can you hear him?
I believe you. That's
That's
his
why I'm
one.
wearing my mask. Okay, well, with that said, let me go ahead and get situated here and I'll go into the staff report for this item. Yes. As you can see here, this is the Peppergrass development on your screen. This was a preliminary plat was approved for this item, and this was approved for January 27th, 2020. That includes everything in white on the screen. As you can see with these items as well, there's a proposed 1A, a 1B, and 1C. 1A is going to be heard tonight under this item. 1B is the next item, and we expect 1C in the next month or two from the applicant for this. As well, real quickly, to let the Planning and Zoning Commission know, the subdivision construction plans were approved for 1A and 1B on June 10th, which was just very recently for this. That's to put the infrastructure in. And there's approved early grading permit for this item as well. And this plat also matches the approved preliminary plat, the development standards with the approved PDD zoning ordinance, and the applicable city codes. And also as well, to let everybody know, this is the close-up of the actual PDD, or the actual plat itself. I apologize for that. And as well, per the PDD ordinance that approved this development, they are required to contribute $150,000 to the county line roadway for the enlargement of that roadway. That is independent of the 25 to 42 feet of right-of-way that will be reserved on County Line Road and Raymond Johnson Road, which will be the future FM 1100 when TxDOT tees off 1100 on the County Line Road. And also they'll provide a deed for dedication to us. So we own those future reserved right-of-ways for road widening. And also if they'll have to do an escrow agreement with us per the PDD so we can transfer the money over if they choose to pay an escrow for these County Line Road improvements. These items will not affect any plat consideration you have tonight, but I'm making the board aware that they are there. And with that said, this concludes my report. I have no outstandings I apologize. The staff analysis portion of this, there are no outstanding concerns or issues, the staff's professional opinion. You can choose to approve with any conditions. You can continue the item with the applicant's permission or deny the project. The staff has no issues or concerns regarding this item. The TRC letter is within the packet for the engineering review portion. And that concludes my staff report, Mr. Chair. And also the applicant is also on this phone call if you have any questions or anything of that sorts. Thank you.
I got one clarification for you. It's not right-of-way reserved, it's right-of-way hereby dedicated.
I stand corrected. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, so item B, applicant presentation. So does the applicant have a presentation?
Hey, it's Scott Miller with Ranch Road Development. We're just here to answer questions. So we've got this one and the 1A plat and the 1B plat coming to you guys next. So just a quick update though, we're currently under construction. We're hoping to be paved early October. And then we will have a builder coming in to start models and production homes. So pretty excited about getting going with this project.
Fantastic, thank you, sir.
I've got our engineer, Chris Reed with Doucette Associates available for any technical questions.
All right, very good, thank you, sir. So item C, open public hearing. I got 6:53.
We have nobody that's written in for or against this item, Mr. Chair, so there's no public comments.
Okay, so seeing none, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing, 6:53. Next, we'll open it up for discussion amongst the P&Z Commission. Anybody have anything to say?
I was just curious why this was split up between the 1A, 1B, and 1C.
Hey, this is Scott Miller with Ranch Road Development. Yeah, so we originally were coming in with a plat for 125 lots with a set of construction plans, but then COVID hit and we made a decision to split it up to kind of reduce our capital costs and make sure that the market was going to be there for us versus coming out with a rather large phase with a ton of infrastructure. So it was really a financial decision to split it up into 3 phases.
Okay, that's fine.
Now it's the exact opposite.
That'll be correct. Now we're behind. So that's why you'll be seeing 1C so quick.
Okay. So any other discussion amongst the commission? Okay, so hearing none, go to item F and I'll entertain a motion.
I recommend we approve the final plat of Peppergrass Phase 1A.
Have a second?
Mr. Crepon just seconded the motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right, so David, will you poll the commission?
Yes. Mr. Crepon? Vote?
Yes.
He voted yes. Mr. Lanford?
Lanford, yes.
Mr. Lundgren?
Lundgren, yes.
Ms. MacArthur?
MacArthur, yes.
Mr. Preet?
Preet, yes.
Mr. Tatum?
Tatum, yes.
Item approved unanimously, Mr. Chair.
All right, fantastic. So item 2 is done. Moving on to item 3. Project number 202000606, a final plat for Peppergrass Phase 1B, located on a parcel of land known by the Bastrop County Appraisal District as parcel 15615, located along Farm to Market FM 1100, and contiguous to the proposed Peppergrass Phase 1A final plat for a total of 31 lots on 6.21 acres of land. Item A, staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is just going back to the previous map. You've just approved the 1A. 1B, as you can see, is in purple. It's right next to it. Consists of the 28 single-family lots, and as stated before, preliminary plats approved, construction plans are approved. And the item and the same contributions as I talked about before, the county line roadway improvements, the 150K, the deeding to the city for the right-of-way itself, the extra right-of-way, and the escrow agreement, as stated in the previous report, applies for this one too. These all have to be in place before recording of the final plat. So we won't allow the plat to be recorded unless these items are in place. And with that said, it meets the preliminary plat, it meets the PDD ordinance and the development agreement associated with it. Our analysis is we have no outstanding concerns or issues on the project. You can choose to approve with conditions, continue this item with the applicant's permission, or deny the project. And with that said, that ends my staff report. Applicant is here for any questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. So item B, applicant presentation. Does the applicant have a presentation?
Same presentation.
All right, thank you, sir. So that being said, item C, open the public hearing. I got 6:58.
Mr. Chair, this is David Harrell again. We have received no public comments for or against this item, so nobody's commented.
All right, seeing none, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing, 6:58. And item E, discussion amongst the commission. Okay, so hearing no discussion, I'm going to move to item F for consideration. So I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend we approve the final plat for Peppergrass Phase 1B.
Thank you.
Second, McCarthy.
There you go. Got a second. David, will you poll the commission?
Yes, sir. Mr. Crepon?
Yes.
He stated yes. Mr. Lanford?
Lanford, yes.
Mr. Lundgren? Mr. Lundgren?
Mike,
Okay.
he's getting his mic.
I was muted. Yes,
Okay.
sorry.
Ms. MacArthur?
McCarthy, yes.
Mr. Preet?
Great, yes.
Mr. Tatum?
Tatum, yes.
Item approved unanimously. Item approved, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, item number 4. An ordinance amending Chapter 46, Article 4, Code of Ordinances, City of Elgin, Texas, by amending Division 9I, General Industrial District, providing for a saving clause and repealing conflicting ordinances and resolution. Says A, applicant presentation. I assume there should be a staff presentation.
There's the city's the applicant, so we're the presenter on it.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
No problem. This item before you tonight is to basically, right now our industrial zoning has commercial uses that can be done inside of it. And the goal of this is to remove those commercial uses. So that way, with the goal being to create a more specialized industrial zoning category. So instead of allowing multitudes of commercial uses in the industrial zoning category, those uses would go away, and that land, which is fewer than what we have now, as indicated on this map, you can see how much of the city is zoned industrial, which isn't all that much considering the city limits. It's mostly the downtown core, the business park out at 290, which is in this area right here, where 290 would be the diagonal road running north to south. In relation to the commercial, which is, as you can see, the entire city limits, there's a lot more land that's zoned commercial. And the idea for this is we have a lot more larger parcels, and there's a lot more land zoned commercial, whereby the commercial that would not go in the industrial area can go to this location. In particular, within your staff report, let's see here. And I apologize, I'm on the wrong staff report, but anyways, within your staff report, these items are mentioned within it. It's not in the best interest of the city, in our view, to allow this pattern of commercial usage in the industrial zoning category to continue. Just because of the amount of commercial that's in the city already for zoning and the limited amount of usage for industrial. That concludes my staff report. I'm here for any questions you may have, Mr. Chair. Thank you. And the commission itself, questions.
Okay, so I'll reserve my questions for when we go to discussion. So item B, open public hearing. So we're 7:02. Anybody signed up for public hearing?
We have not received anybody for or against on this item, so there are no public comments for this item. Thank you.
Hearing none, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. I got 7:02. Item D, discussion amongst the commission. So if I can come out of the box. So David, the idea here is right now we have industrial zoning kind of parceled out through the city, and the ordinance right now allows a C1 use to go inside of industrial. And so what you're trying to articulate to us is if we keep allowing all this commercial to go in these industrial spots and we get a real industrial user, there's not going to be any place for them to go.
Correct. It allows C1 and C2 uses, which just doubles the odds that a commercial developer will go into our industrial areas. That's correct. We want to preserve that industrial land for industrial versus commercial. So yes, Mr. Chair, that's correct.
Can you go through some of the industrial uses that we are talking about?
Yes, those are within your ordinance, but it covers pretty much everything industrial in the city, all the way from bottling works to electronic assembly and manufacture, leather good fabrication. So if you want to produce leather, in particular, I can read through them. Bottling works, book bindery, candy manufacturing, engraving plant, electrical equipment assembly, and the manufacturing components of that as well, food production, processing and packaging, furniture manufacturer, instrument and meter manufacturing, jewelry and watch manufacturing, laundry and cleaning establishments, leather good fabrication, as said earlier, optical goods, paper products, building material sales yard and lumber yard, that sort of thing, contractor equipment storage yard, freighting or truck yard terminals, oil fields, equipment storage yard, public service yard, electrical receiving yard. And then, of course, and that's just on the premises. Now, some of these uses have to be done inside the building, which are the manufacture, compounding, processing, packaging, or treatment of such products as bakery goods, candy, cosmetics, dairy products, drugs and perfume, pharmaceuticals and perfume toiletries, and that sort of thing. I'll go ahead and put these up on the screen so you can see them as well. Can everybody see this?
Yes, sir.
I just thought an idea a minute ago.
So David, everything you've listed is what you're wanting to remove from that industrial, right?
No, what I'm going to remove from the industrial is just this item right here.
Just the bakery in red.
Just the areas in red, the C2 and then the bakery. The rest of these are just renumbering these things because I'm removing 2 of them.
Gotcha. So they're just in red, but they're not being removed. They're just renumbered.
Correct.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and pan back down. But you can see that allows a whole gamut. Pretty much everything industrial goes into this category. We don't differentiate between light and heavy manufacturing. But you can see manufacturing of musical instruments, machine shops, metal production, that sort of thing, as indicated here on the screen as well, when conducted inside a building.
All right, so let's just be the devil's advocate. Let's just say we got a really good commercial user that the city really wants, and they found one of these sites that's zoned industrial. So what avenue would they have? It sounds like to me they would have avenue one of trying to rezone it or get a special use permit.
They would have to either rezone that land, or if they qualify for a specific use permit under the code, they can go that route. So you're correct, Mr. Chair.
So David, roll back up to what, so
Mr. Chair, Mr. Prepon asked if they would have to relocate. And to answer his question, they would not have to relocate if you rezone this land. It would just be a legal non-conforming use.
right.
And then if there was a situation where if that building was destroyed, they would either have to build back to what is allowed, which is industrial, or rezone the land to commercial to put that use back there. But those are items I feel that could be considered on an individualized basis as they come down. The odds are it would be years before any non-conforming use was destroyed.
And would those guys be able to, existing users be able to add on and improve their property? Is there a limitation on that?
There would be. If they went to go ahead and add space to it, they would have to rezone that land. Right now, I don't see many places within the industrial zoning category that would be affected by that. The two that I can think of right now is the Elgin General Store and the Ace Hardware in the current industrial park. That's it.
Okay.
That I can think of off the top of my head.
What's the definition of destroyed?
When more than 50% more value of the building is destroyed.
Because that's my only concern is you have somebody who's in a business for 20 years, they suffer a fire, and not only do they lose their ability to work for a while, they can't even come back without going through zoning.
I would think at that point, we would have them, we would probably go through the administrative rezoning route with them. So we probably more than likely would do the rezoning in that fashion. And we would bring it before you at that time. That's something you would have to consider in rezoning the land. Like I said, a non-conforming use is designed to continue over in perpetuity, but at some point it goes away. But that's something to consider, in my opinion, for another day if that would occur with those properties. Otherwise, if we keep it like this now and rezone industrially more land, we're going to get more commercial uses in our limited industrial areas. That's my only concern.
Okay.
In regards to this zoning in general.
So that 50% is somewhere in the code somewhere?
I believe that it is. I don't know the exact code off the top of my head. There's the non-conforming section of our codes.
Is that something Bo knows since he helped establish, right?
What question, Chairperson?
Where's the 50% written in the ordinance? So if somebody burns their building down 50%, where's that written?
I'd have to look for it, to be honest with you. I don't recall that right off the top of my head, but it doesn't mean it's not buried in there.
Okay.
I'll make a note of it to find it exactly, but I don't recall it as a ledger moment across that says that.
Very good. Understood. Any other discussion amongst the commission?
Owen Rock, are you still here?
Yes, he is.
So out of curiosity, is that site behind, the old cotton gin, is that always the hope to keep that industrial, or are there plans to change that into a more retail space? Because that's been the rumor for a while.
Well, some of that is kind of confidential right now, but I could see that going more into a mixed use, retail and residential townhome type. It can still, I believe it's still zoned industrial. But the owner, we're working with the owner of that right now to see what we can do in that area to build a partnership with it.
Typically, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So Jason, just in that case, just like he's even talking mixed use, it sounds like that would end up having to be some sort of PUD or something to even get that to go.
That would probably be the best way to go on that project.
Okay.
PDD.
It would most likely be a PDD.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So I guess, David, I understand where you're coming from, without a doubt. It's just that usually, like in a higher classification, you usually allow lesser uses in it. And I'm just spitballing right now. I'm not taking a stand on anything. And I get, if we get all these commercial users eat up all the industrial, where are they supposed to go? Then they're trying to change something else, a lighter use, up and make it go up. Can you tell me how you guys kind of came to this thought process and why you as a city staff thought this was a good idea for the city?
In this case here, your next item on the agenda involves an EDC project. And the best zoning for it, and I'm not going to get into detail associated with it, but that involves rezoning of portions of land to industrial. And when we were taking a look at this, myself and Mr. Rock, the Economic Development Director, we started looking at what uses are in the current industrial zoning category and in relation to what it allows. And in looking at this, we made the determination that having commercial uses in the industrial zone is not the best idea. And the reason why is because like I said, takes up valuable land that could be dedicated for industrial usage that would generate jobs. So that's kind of how it came about in relation to what's going on here. We were taking a look at EDC owned land, which is obviously the next item on the agenda, and that's how we come to that conclusion.
Okay, so this was kind of working with the EDC and the city and trying to figure out what's best for the city of Elgin and its citizens.
Correct.
Okay.
And being the best for the city of Elgin, be the best planning for the community as well.
All right, very good, sir.
Thank you.
Are there any other discussion amongst the commission?
I was just looking, this is Dorothy. I was just looking at the latter part of the last paragraph of the staff analysis. It says, however, should that use continue or the building be destroyed, then only an industrial use can be placed back at this location unless the individual land is rezoned to allow for that specific or any commercial uses. Doesn't that somewhat cover about if it's 50% destroyed by fire or whatever, that it would automatically be considered industrial use?
That paragraph covers what we were talking about earlier about the destruction of that use.
Right. I was waiting to get a chance.
Thank you.
Dorothy, did you get your question answered?
Yes, I was just asking, does that pretty well cover the discussion that about if it's destroyed by fire, 50%, that it automatically is going to be industrial, it'll be zone I if you build back or whatever?
Yeah,
That
and
covers them.
if they try to build back with the existing use, they would have to come back to the Pnz.
Right, okay.
So they wouldn't have right, they wouldn't have the zoning by right. They would have to come back and work something out, which hopefully that doesn't happen.
I got you. Yes, hopefully not.
So if you had some kind of mobster action in Elgin, they could take out a business and.
Easy. This is a public meeting. All right. So if I hear no other discussion, I'm going to move to item E, which is recommendation, and I'll entertain a motion.
Just a question, when you read this motion, would you read the entire paragraph of that zoning request?
I would just read verbatim item 4 as it's presented.
Okay. I'm not going to get back to item 4.
David can put it up if you want.
I can do that here.
Let me get back to, okay. All right, you ready?
Yep.
You're recommending approval on this to the
I
council.
recommend we approve the ordinance amending chapter 46, article 4, Code of Ordinances, City of Elgin, Texas, by amending Division 9I, General Industrial District, providing for a savings clause and repealing conflicting ordinances and resolutions.
All right. So I got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second. Dorothy.
All right, Dorothy, second. David, will you poll the commission, please, sir?
Mr. Crepon?
Yes.
He indicated yes. Mr. Lanford? We'll skip over Mr. Lanford. Mr. Lundgren?
Lundgren, yes.
Ms. MacArthur?
Answer yes.
Mr. Preet?
Preet, yes.
Mr. Tatum?
Tatum, yes.
Mr. Lanford? Mr. Lanford, are you there? Madam Secretary, let the minutes show that Mr. Lanford did not vote on the item. That concludes it. Mr. Chair, item recommended approval unanimously. Okay.
Well, we had the quorum for it, the votes for it, so it's a done deal.
Yes, we did.
All right, item 5. Project number 2020-00558, an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city of Elgin, Texas, adopted in chapter 46, section 46-3, revised code of ordinances, city of Elgin, Texas, 2013, and making this amendment as part of said official zoning map, to wit, to rezone to I, general industrial district, the property being approximately 66.2 acres in Elgin Business Park, Part 3, Block A, Lot 2, and the property being 14.73 acres out of the A59 Elizabeth Stanford survey. Said tracts being more described in Exhibit A, known as Bastrop County parcel number 8712052 and 47326, and providing for a savings clause and repealing conflicting ordinances and resolutions. Applicant presentation. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a city-initiated item, so I'll be the applicant on it. I'll go ahead and bring this up. And in particular, pay attention. This is the area being rezoned is the large parcel and the small parcel that you see on your screen. The C3 and I zoning exists currently on the large parcel. The R1 has the small parcel. As you're maybe aware, and this was rezoned, actually, let's see, my apologies here. I've lost track of my staff report. Hold on here. The area that C3 and I zone was actually rezoned on April of 2018 to its current condition. And the area that was rezoned is pretty much what C3 and I on the screen right now. When previously this parcel was annexed into the city, the small parcel was as well. It kept its R1 zone, but it came into the city and it's been that way ever since. In particular, I want the Planning and Zoning Commission to note the C3 zoning to the north, and of course the C3 and I zoning that will be to the immediate east near the single-family housing development, Saratoga Farms. So there is zoning that's similar or heavier in intensity within that area as well. With the staff report, I indicated uses that would be added and subtracted. Of course, anything rezoning from R1 to any other zone loses all the residential characteristics and gets the industrial characteristics of rezoned. Now, it should be aware as well that the parcel that's zoned C3 and I, it's going to be rezoned to I, which would lose the C3 portion, which is the heaviest commercial. As the code stands now, it would allow C1 and C2, but should the council bring forward the previous item to remove the C1 and C2 uses, those uses would no longer be allowed in the industrial category, and this would be entirely an industrial zoning category. Those items are included within your packet as well. What uses are to be added, subtracted, and not changed. But because the big parcel will go from C3 and I zoning to I zoning, we just lose the heaviest commercial and the industrial stays there. So the heaviest use, which would be industrial, stays on the premises anyways. In the R1 zoning, when you rezone it to industrial, will just be matching the uses that's generally around it. I do need to make the Planning and Zoning Commission aware that the Elgin Comprehensive Plan does call this is within the traditional neighborhood development land use category. You can see that here. You can see the site area here where it's located at. This category does allow land usage that's residential in nature and allows more multifamily type development with smaller commercial. Obviously, this and the whole area is like that. So obviously, the rezoning it from C3 and I and R1 to industrial is not compatible with the comprehensive plan. However, in that circumstance, the zoning to the north has already been that way. It's C3 zoned already, which would be relatively what uses are there now, plus the I zoning, which is already there. So it's a situation where the land use map, which was part of the 2016 plan and was part of the 2009 plan, was brought forward. So in other words, this land use plan hasn't changed in 11 years. So in my professional opinion, it's a situation where the growth of the city has now gone outside of the scope of the comprehensive plan. So it's a situation where our comp plan is out of date and really needs to be situated and fixed. But, and bear that in mind as well, with that, in my professional opinion, that should be weighed less. But if you look at the zonings that's around it, they are a mixture of C3 and I uses, which is both C3 and I zoning, of which the I would be compatible with C3 and I, and also the I would be the most compatible with the C3 zoning, which is a heavy commercial. So, and bear in mind as well, the residential is buffered to the east by the roadway, which would be right here, and also the C3 and I zoning to the east. So based on that information within the packet and the analysis that's within your packet and has been incorporated here into this presentation, we have no issues or concerns regarding the rezoning request. I'm here for any questions that you may have, Mr. Chair and Commission. Thank you. And so is Owen Rock, the Economic Development Director, is here as well. He may be able to shed light on some items and answer questions, and also our engineering team as well is here for any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we'll probably come back to you at the discussion point. So item B is open public hearing. So I've got open public hearing 7/23.
We've had one inquiry from the public, but once we stated what the item was, what item was occurring here, they had no opinion for or against, and it was the contact was to the parcel to the immediate west, which is that large area right there with the house on it. So they didn't say whether they were for or against, they just inquired on information, and that's the only one we've had.
Okay. All right, so seeing none, hearing none, we're going to close the public hearing. I got 7/24. Item D, we'll open up the discussion amongst the commission. So let me come out of the box with my first question. Pop up, David, so I can see you. All right, so all of a sudden you spun me out. So these tracks back here are currently zoned, have dual zoning, C3 and I zoning?
That is correct.
And so the deal we just passed before limits C1 and C2 in industrial zoning.
Yes, it will once the council passes it.
But allows a C3 in industrial zoning.
We don't allow C3 in industrial zoning, which is probably why it was dual zone C3 and I to start with.
Okay.
If I could just add something there, that was actually recommended by the previous planning director to dual zone that site. We didn't know what was going. We wanted it to go industrial. I didn't. I got his professional opinion on it, and he moved forward to do the C3 and the I zoning. So.
All right. Thank you for that clarification, sir. So, so really, right now we're taking on this deal we're getting ready to vote on, we're taking away the C3 option and just making it industrial.
Correct. So we're removing the C3, and then assuming the council approves the C2 and C1 zoning removals as a use by right, then we're dealing with just an I industrial zone parcel. Correct.
All right, fantastic. And it's already got it today, technically. So yes. My first question is since it's already got industrial zoning, it's kind of a moot point, but is that parcel? I assume we got like a 50-foot buffer up against single family with industrial, something to that effect.
We have buffering standards in the landscaping code for perimeter landscaping, I believe, for non-residential type standards. But yes, there are buffering standards associated with this.
Up against single family. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm sure someone's done the homework. I'm just asking the question. There's plenty of track there to provide whatever the code buffer is.
You bring up a good point, Tommy, and I'm not sure if Owen would realize that when his discussions with David, but that's what I've been staring at and waiting for a chance to speak, Owen, is that tracks to the east of the right of way and the future roadway, that one track that's platted, you're not going to have much of a track left after you give your buffer.
Correct.
I don't know if David shared that with you when you guys were looking at it, but if you go to I, because you are up against R1, it is a 50-foot buffer off of your property line.
You're talking the C3 and I zoning category on the other side of the road that it's next to the single family, correct, Bo?
Correct.
The long skinny parcel.
Yep.
You take away that C3 there and you leave it with I, you can give yourself a 50-foot buffer, which not going to leave you much for any kind of industry between the right of way and that buffer.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that C3 and I. We're not changing that one.
But that wasn't what was.
That's not, Mr. Chair, may I interject? That's not part of this request. Myself and Owen had discussion on that one, and we think rezoning that to something that's a lower commercial category only would probably be the best fit there, but that's something we want to take up at a future date.
Okay, can you take your mouse and show me what's in play right now? Because I'm lost.
What's included?
On your screen, you've got the small parcel, which is R1 zone. You've got the large parcel, which is C3 and I. Those are the two parcels in play.
And so the square and the long rectangle are not in play right now.
Correct.
Okay, understood.
Well, that's very helpful because, yeah, when you have them labeled, I was very concerned, as everybody else was, about that residential and industrial coming together like that. So
We are as well, and that's why I've had discussions with Mr. Rock in regards to potentially looking at rezoning that to a lower level commercial, like a C1 or C2 standard there, which would be better than having C3 and I next to a residential area. But that's something we wanted to kind of push to a future date to get that situated.
Okay. All right, that was my confusion. I'm sorry. You did provide a little parcel map that shows the area.
That exhibit C map, it shows the area.
I got lost in the translation. Okay. So does everybody on commission understand what's in play right now?
Tatum, yes.
All right. Okay. So with that being said, is there any other discussion from the commission?
Are y'all allowed to, the impetus for this?
I didn't understand the question.
What, are y'all allowed to discuss what the impetus is for this change besides, I mean, just in general?
Well, I approached David and we looked at our current business park, where we have Ace Hardware and Elgin General Store. We've got county buildings, we've got city buildings. It's really not a pure industrial park or business park, as we like to call it.
Right.
We don't, down in this area that we're looking at right now, that whole 80 acres, we don't want an Ace Hardware in the middle of this and families coming down to the Ace Hardware when we've got large trucks and light manufacturing and distribution down in this area. We've got plenty of room north for all that kind of stuff along 290 as far as the commercial zoning that we have there. We want this to be a business park. With Tesla coming in right now, we're getting a lot of phone calls and we're getting very aggressive as far as trying to find some folks that will be feeding the Tesla plants. And so we want to identify this area as a business park for those types of folks. And we just really do not want to have that mix of the retail in there. We just feel that it's just not a part, should not be a part of a business park.
Okay, I got you.
Right.
Thank
So that, I think that goes along the line of trying to preserve large tracts for true industrial users instead of getting it cut up for a bunch of small retail stuff.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, got you.
Great question. Great question. Thank you. Any other questions from the commission? Okay, so no other questions. We'll move to item D and I'll entertain a motion.
I'm going to go ahead and put this up on the screen. So if you wanted to read that out verbatim when you make your motion, it'll assist you with it.
Okay, thank you, David.
All right, I guess I'll do it again here. I recommend we accept the ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city of Elgin, Texas, adopted in chapter 46, section 46-3, revised code of ordinances, city of Elgin, Texas, 2013, and making this amendment a part of said official zoning map, to wit, to rezoning to I, General Industrial District, the property being approximately 66.22 acres in Elgin Business Park, Part 3, Block A, Lot 2, and the property being 14.73 acres out of the A59, A59 Elizabeth Standifer survey, and said tracts being more described in Exhibit A, known as Bastrop Co. parcels or Bastrop County parcels number 8712052 and 47326, and providing for a savings clause, repealing conflicting ordinances and resolutions.
Mr. Tatum, can you include the project number in, please, which is right here?
Project number 202000558
Thank
is the
you.
project number for this ordinance amendment.
Thank
All right.
you.
Fantastic. All right, we got a second. There you go.
Okay. With that said, Mr. Crepon?
Yes.
He indicated yes. Mr. Lanford? May have lost him again. Mr. Lundgren?
Lundgren, yes.
Ms. MacArthur?
McCarthy, yes.
Mr. Preet?
Preet, yes.
Mr. Tatum?
Tatum, yes.
Again, Mr. Lanford? I think we've lost him, but that is a unanimous recommendation for approval, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And you're going to have the secretary note that he had technical difficulties and did not vote.
Yes, we will.
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to say thank you so much to the board. I think this is going to be a great asset for the community itself. And just, I personally want to thank David for all his help and work on this.
All right. We appreciate your input, sir. Thank you very much.
Hey, keep rocking it, Owen. Appreciate you, buddy.
No problem, Jason. See ya.
Okay. All right. So next item is announcements.
Yes. Yes. We, right now at the city, are still obviously meeting in this capacity, council is at this moment. As the COVID situation improves, we're going to try in September to hold an actual meeting. And we've actually moved from the old council chambers to the library across the parking lot as a bigger chamber, a much bigger chamber. And that should help us out a lot for meetings and that sort of thing. But we're going to try for right now as it stands. Of course, the whole COVID situation changes day by day and even week at a time. So as it looks now, if council has their meeting there in September and there's no issues, more than likely we can hold a regular meeting in the new facility for the September meeting. However, it's going to be on a day by day and a week by week basis with this whole COVID-19 situation.
Dave, that would be the third Monday, right, of September?
It would be, I believe it would be, let's see here, I'll check into that.
21st.
There's an extra Monday in the month. I have it for the fourth Monday, which is the 28th of September.
According to my math, that would be the 21st, the third. Are we the fourth or third?
We're in the fourth Monday. That's the fourth Monday.
All right, you are correct.
22nd, is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry?
You're saying September 22nd, the fourth Monday?
28th.
September 28th. If there's right now, I've got the meeting down for meeting in,
Okay,
and I'll be making a revision to that if we stay there. If not, I'll do like I did last time, cancel it, and I'll send you a new invite that's teleconferencing, kind of like I've done so far.
right.
Okay?
Well, I'm willing to be quarantined at Disney World and just do the meetings for the rest of the year if we need to be. I just want y'all to know.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have no other comments. I don't know if the staff has any other comments.
I've got one comment. So recently, as you may know, went to look for the city of Elgin zoning map. And what comes up is an older version of the map.
Yep.
And so I'm not sure how that's being rectified, yada, yada, yada. So,
The city right now is using TRC to update its zoning map, its specific use layers map, its annexations, and its ETJ boundaries. So we're in the process of updating through TRC all of that information. Once that's complete, we're going to reload everything up with a new map and everything. We're just confirming everything is as it is.
is there an ETA on that?
Right now, it's in the finalization stages. I think within the next 30 to 45 days, we could have a new map up.
Okay, I just want to let you know that, like, I almost had a heart attack on one project because it got an old zoning map, so.
Yes. So.
There you go. Any other comments, announcements from the commission?
No, sir.
No.
Okay, well, with that being said, we will stand adjourned, 7:37.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. Good job. Thank you for putting all
Good
this.
night, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.
All right.
Adios.